सीएनजी के दाम बढ़ जाने से भाई कोई हमको बहुत तकलीफ है। कोई सवारी पैसे देने के राजी नहीं है, मीटर की पैसे उससे भी कम दे रहा है।
Delhi is home to thousands of migrant workers. In the last couple of months, the city has seen a surge in CNG price. It has increased by 80% since April 2021. More than 110,000 families of auto drivers are affected because of this price hike. The BJP government came to power with the promise that they will lower fuel prices, but the reality on the ground shows a different picture. Rafiquddin has 8 members in his family. He is the sole breadwinner. He works for over 12 hours a day, first to pay off rent of the auto rickshaw he drives, and then to provide for his family.
मेरे परिवार में मेरे ऊपर 8 लोग हैं और कमाने वाला मैं एक ही हूँ। अभी 8 लोग हैं क्योंकि बच्चे अभी स्कूल में पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं तो वो तो कमा नहीं रहा ना, वो उल्टा देना पड़ता है।
We asked economist Santosh Mehrotra about the ever-deepening fuel price crisis which affects the pockets of informal workers like Rafiq.
Problem is not confined to the auto drivers. It also affects car drivers and taxi drivers. It affects fertilizer making plants because it raises the cost of fertilizers made for natural gas. It affects cooking gas prices. It affects the electricity generation. In other words, it affects the prices of so many inputs that it's going to raise inflation rates. So the solution is fairly straightforward, and it is the same solution that has been around for at least 1.5 years since the government decided to raise prices, despite the fact that it has already had a windfall gain from about 6 years after it came to power, 6 years of low international prices of crude petroleum as well as natural gas. So it has accumulated almost 27 lakh crores, 27 trillion rupees worth of tax revenues from excise and cesses on these fuels. And it needs to use other sources to generate revenues for itself rather than use this simple method which affects the poor people and above all the middle class at a time when joblessness has increased, aggregate demand is low. You see what happens when inflation rises, not just transportation prices for auto drivers. Of course it affects auto drivers, but what I'm trying to explain is that it affects so many more million people than a few auto drivers, that this is a disastrous policy from the point of view of the government, though it is a very convenient policy from the point of view of the government for its own tax revenue. When in fact, the solution for the government's problem is that it should be raising corporate taxes, or at least put a surcharge temporarily until all the effects on the adverse effects of COVID on the economy dissipate. And it should put a personal income tax surcharge on the super rich in respect of personal income tax. That means those who earn more than 1 crore per annum. If it did that, the government will be able to roll back PNG, CNG prices, and it will be able to roll back even diesel prices and oil and petrol prices, which will reduce inflation, which would increase demand. If it increased demand for all kinds of things across the economy, it will actually lead our industry to invest. If industry invested, the growth rate of the economy will pick up, and that will raise revenues for the government.
Finally, their day ends in queue waiting to refill CNG for the next work day. Amid the long wait, many end up dragging their rickshaw.
क्या मांगेंगे, क्या देगा सरकार, कुछ नहीं देगा। आज 25 साल से गाड़ी चला रहे हैं, अभी ये गाड़ी 7 लाख की हो गई। गाड़ी किराए में नहीं मिल रहा है, एक महीना से बैठ के तब गाड़ी हमको मिला है।
द वायर के और वीडियोस देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करें। स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता की आर्थिक मदद करने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर जाएं और अपनी राशि चुनें।